Oh.
That's how you do them, like.
Well, hello and welcome to this Wednesday night's movie news here at MBE. I'd just like to thank you once again for joining us here on our YouTube channel and, of course, our Twitch stream. I'm just going to introduce you to co-host. You know him well. He's here 5 days a week. It's John C. Walsh. John, I hope we get another raid like we did Monday night from Twitch, guys.
Yes, that was very late,
That'd
stream,
be-
Stephen.
That'd be
Very
splendid
late.
and tremendous, wouldn't it?
I have
Yeah.
to set up alerts, Stephen. There is no alerts for Twitch, so I wasn't aware
Yeah.
there was a raid.
The
I was
cot
aware
is on the back
afterwards.
foot. Yeah.
Yes, thank
It's
you,
fantastic, but it's always good to see people coming in and tuning in. Certainly at this time of night here in the UK, it's appreciated. But John, we've kind of diced and dabbled with the headline for today or for tonight because it has changed 3 times in the past 6-7 hours because the news kept getting updated. This is, of course, what you can see from our thumbnail and, of course, our headline. It's about Spider-Man No Way Home premieres in December 2021. Now, John, there's this is coming in from Marvel.com, but it's all over the place. It's big news. It is, of course, the official title, No Way Home, which we'll talk about in a little moment.
Yes.
But due to some confusion between the 3 Spider-Man stars and their uncoordinated attempt at a title reveal, we now have an actual answer to what's the new Spider-Man movie called, and it's Spider-Man No Way Home. Not Spider-Man Phone Home, not Spider-Man Home Wrecker, and certainly not Spider-Man Home Slice. Even though they all sound very fun,
Yes.
they are very incorrect. In the video below, you can see where this kerfuffle, I'll say that again because I actually swore there, kerfuffle all started between Tom Holland, Zendaya and Jacob Batalon, leading to a talk with returning Spider-Man director John Watts. Holland befuddled as to why, once again, he doesn't have the correct info. That's why people keep feeding him misinformation. John, I'm kind of glad because they don't trust you. That's why, Tom.
Yeah.
You're hopeless. You cannot keep a secret. You're that innocent. Name me one thing I've actually spoiled, he asked his co-stars. The last movie title,
Everything.
Zendaya, Deadpants. She's so funny, isn't she? I can imagine. I've not seen this video, John, but this is obviously at Spider-Man movie. The tweet that came out this weekend confirms Spider-Man No Way Home hashtag only in movie theatres this Christmas. Now, before we go into the movie title, John, I did laugh because our original headline for tonight was going to be about Tom Holland confirming Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are definitely not having cameos in Spider-Man 3, which I was delighted about because I don't want them as cameos. I am an all or nothing type of a guy. Either have them in the film, big parts, or don't have them in it at all. I don't want cameos. I don't want to see that kind of Wolverine thing they did in X-Men First Class, the whole go and fuck yourself thing. Yeah, that thing. Don't want to go and see that. I want to see them, or I don't want to see them. I don't want cameos, so I'm kind of glad. But it's true. I mean, you can't trust Tom Holland. He's let the cat out of the bag so many times. I'm glad that there was a bit of confusion about, obviously. There was a bit of confusion about the headlines, John. The title of the new film, and I did see these trending. And at first, I was like, "Oh, please be not that. That's terrible. That's got to be a wind up."
Well,
but
not only did I love Spider-Man Phone Home, but I loved the Spider-Man Phone Home logo where it was green and gold, clearly paying homage to E.T. I liked him all, Stephen. Homewrecker as well. He is a homewrecker. He's been outed as Spider-Man, Peter Parker, the friendly neighbourhood superhero. And that's obviously had repercussions for Aunt. What is it, May? I'm thinking about her name now. Is it Aunt May? What is
Aunt
it?
May, yeah.
Aunt May,
It's
yeah.
not Baru.
Aunt Maru, yes. I was thinking of Aunt May and I was thinking of something else here, but it's definitely Aunt May. There would have been repercussions for her life, for her house. So he is a homewrecker, inadvertently. Home slice. I'm trying to work out what home slice means. That's went over my head, Stephen. I thought of a pizza.
Sounds like bread.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pizza.
Yeah.
And I'm always thinking about pizza.
Tobey Maguire's job, his Peter Parker was a pizza delivery boy. John, No Way Home. Now, how do you feel about that? Because when I saw that, the first thing that came into my head was, this is it. They're actually committing to the SpiderVerse.
Yeah.
Live action SpiderVerse, that is, by this No Way Home. He's not getting back. That's what I get from it.
Stephen, what I got for it, I'll go to myself and give you a little break. I'll switch the intro off there.
Hang on.
Fandabidozi, the intro's off. I love it, Stephen. It's alluding to exactly what people were rumouring it was going to be. It's just a rumour. And that it's going to be a sort of fugitive style movie. He's on the run. People are going after him. He's outed as Spider-Man. It's going to be an exhilarating story. There's going to be multiverse bleeding in here. We know it's part of this greater 3-arc story that's been told by WandaVision, Spider-Man 3 and Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. We know there's different iterations of familiar characters played by the same actors coming into this movie, and I do hope Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are familiar faces coming into this movie. So it's all bleeding into this No Way Home. He can't go home. He's on the run. And he can't go home in the terms of it maybe being different realities bleeding in here. So I love it. I love the title. I think it's fitting. I like the fact we've got this continuing home theme as well. Homecoming, Far From Home, No Way Home. Stephen, we were speaking about titles, potential titles for this movie a good 6-7 months ago, I think. Might not have been as far back as that, but you picked one out and it might not have been far off, No Way Home. I can't remember what he says. But you had a really good shout. It may very well have been No Way Home. It's a great, short, little title. And it tells so much about the story. He's on the run. And he's going to have to choose his friends and his foes very wisely. Because look, Steve, we've seen it. What's the little annoying shithead classmate who I love? Little long-haired guy. What's he called?
Yeah, I can't remember his name.
He's great. He's always saying, fuck Spider-Man and things like that. Words to that effect. We already know he's on Team Mysterio. There's lots of Mysterio propaganda going around. Is it Mysterio? It's right. Is it Peter Parker? He's chosen Mysterio. So we've got that little subplot developing under the surface of this movie as well. Mysterio's planted that sort of mystery surrounding the death of him, the shenanigans involving Spider-Man. And it's going to split the populace right down the middle. People are going to be for Spider-Man, for Mysterio. He's on the run. It's just a very interesting story we've got lined up here. I cannot wait to see this movie. This is probably my most anticipated movie, Marvel-wise, out of any of the Phase 4 releases. I cannot wait to see it. I keep saying it at the risk of repeating myself. I think this is the next Civil War. This is going to be like an Avengers movie. We've already had rumours about Captain Marvel. It's going to be a borderline Avengers movie as well. Lots of ensemble characters coming in. This, I think, is going to be a borderline Avengers movie. They better get Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield in there, Stephen, or I will be raging. They have to have them in there. Holland's not got a clue what's going on. They're feeding him script page by page. He says that the other day.
Yeah, I read that, yeah.
He says they're not in the movie. Now he's saying they've not got cameos. He's changing his tune every week. He's not got a clue. They are in the movie. And it will be revealed when it comes out. I'm absolutely certain of it. But Stephen, I love the title. In short, I love it.
John, the possibility of Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield is still very high percentage. And Tom Holland may not have any interaction with these two actors anyway, so he might not have to know anyway. It's very much similar to what they did with Luke Skywalker's appearance in the Mandalorian Season 2 finale. The actors didn't know. The actors did not know the character they were talking to. All they knew was it was a Jedi, and that was it. Because obviously everything was in post-production. This will be no different. And I think if you've ever seen the behind-the-scenes shots of Endgame, you'll understand that, for that sort of finale, all those actors weren't there at the same time. If you've ever watched it, it's all segmented, but because of green screen and technology, you can place them all in the one shot, and they all look like they're there at the same time. Yep. There's nothing to stop them doing that with with Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire. So
that does worry me though, Stephen. The fact that he says he is not aware of the appearances. that he knows of, they're not in the movie. Because I want to see these two characters interacting with Tom Holland. I said it before, I want them to be like the different incarnations of Spider-Man we got in Spider-Man Into the SpiderVerse. They were playing mentor to Miles Morales in that movie. I want to see this. I want to see them bestowing their wisdom, their experience of being that superhero on the Peter Parker iteration of the Tom Holland iteration of Peter Parker. I don't want it being them coming in, not interacting, and having huge action sequences and not being a part of the MCU, Peter Parker's storyline, what he's doing in the movie. I want them to have an active role interacting with him, and that disappoints me.
No, the only other thing I can think of that they do is that, for the last third of the film they appear, with some kind of backup
It's not shot yet.
to help Tom Holland. And it's not shot yet. Because as you said, he's getting drip fed the script just now, so they're still in production. They're still filming. Although it's coming out in December 2021, which isn't that far away, John. You're only talking 10 months away.
I can't believe they've announced this is coming out the end of this year.
That's how confident now. Yeah,
it's still in production in Atlanta just now, and they're talking about releasing this later in the year. That shows you how much confidence they have in this movie script. They're not going to have to reshoot, because it'd be incredibly tight if they were having to reshoot, do pickup shots. The confidence they have in the background people as well, the sort of CGI artists and things like that, the technicians in this movie, the post-production, that they can get this shot in the next month or so, whenever the production's ending, and get all of the post done in time for a December release. That will be mighty close, man. I hope they get it done, because that would be an amazing end to a
Christmas
period.
Release.
Oh,
we're talking here. A Christmas release. You know what it was like when, dare I say it, obviously the Star Wars sequel trilogy, which we're not fans of, but having Star Wars films in that time slot was fantastic, wasn't it? Rogue One was great. We enjoyed that.
I want my gingerbread patty from Starbucks.
So have that third instalment of this Homecoming trilogy in there at Christmas time's perfect. I think it's a real family occasion. It's a family event. It's a family film as well. Spider-Man, he's your friendly neighbourhood hero, and he's just one of these characters that the whole family love.
He was my favourite Marvel character growing up, and I think to a degree he still is, despite you having the Shield and Mjolnir behind me. I can't jump about in a Spider-Man suit, sadly. It just can't happen. I've not got the physique for it. It's not practical, but he's still probably my favourite Marvel character. And I want to see this guy grown in this cinematic universe. He's been let down so far. He's needed training wheels with Tony Stark. He's had to be helped up by the female characters in Endgame. This is a guy, one of the strongest Marvel superheroes. He's got God-given ability. He should be wrecking the out of people in these movies. So hopefully he matures with a little help from his friends. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. I'm a big Beatles fan. And we can see the real Spider-Man starting to step up. Steve, man, I cannot wait for it. I genuinely cannot wait to see what they've got in store for us. And the fact it's coming out this year, it's going to just hopefully cap off a much better year starting in the next month or so with this COVID shit. Hope that goes.
I will tell you what I'm looking forward to. The first trailer that drops. Can't wait to see that.
Can't be
first trailer. I'll not be, John. I think maybe March, April.
Well,
I think that's the teaser will drop. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. And then we'll get that full blown trailer. Probably about August time. August, September.
Steve, I was going to ask you something that briefly left my mind, but I'll ask you this first as well. Do you think we'll see some of the villains coming in? Because we know we're getting Green Goblin, we're getting Doc Ock, we're getting what's his face? I'm blanking on his name. The Jamie Foxx character. Why am I blanking on this guy's name? Electro.
Sandman as well.
Do you think we'll see some of these villains popping in the trailer, or will they sort of keep most of the big bombastic stuff for maybe the last couple of trailer, or the last proper trailer, or maybe for the movie experience itself? What do you make about that? The other question I'd ask, this is going to be a trilogy now. We've had a number of trilogies in the MCU. I think most people would agree that the Captain America trilogy is by far the greatest MCU trilogy. It's just nearly perfect. I think it's perfect in actual fact. Iron Man was let down by a average second movie and a poor third movie for me. And Thor's just a joke. We're relying on Taika Waititi to erase For That World out of our minds. How would you see this? If this is a really big hit, how would you rate this trilogy? Would you rate this on a par with Captain America's trilogy, above it? Because I think the last two movies have been really, really good. So
they've been good, John.
I don't think
they're not at the same level as Civil War or The Winter Soldier for me.
That's why we're relying on this one.
the thing I liked about Captain America Trilogy was that those 3 films were 3 different genres. I think Homecoming and Far From Home were really good continuations of the same story, the same theme, same tone. The other question you asked, John, I can't remember.
Do you think we'll see big villains appearing in the trailers? The first sort of snippets trailers? Or will they keep it?
I don't. No, I think they'll keep it, John. I think we'll
Could you
get a teaser
imagine,
trailer,
Stephen?
and I think it'll be very personal. I think it'll be more focused on Peter Parker and the sort of come down from Far From Home and the Mysterio situation. I think we'll get something very personal first.
I agree. But could you imagine the reaction, Stephen, if we see Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield at the end of that trailer? It will absolutely destroy the internet.
Yeah.
Everyone spoke about Kim Kardashian just breaking the internet with that ridiculous photograph. Fuck that.
What was that? A arse?
It was a arse, yeah. This would break the internet. Screw that bin and screw Kanye West. This would break the internet, man. Spider-Man showing us Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield in a trailer. They're splitting up as well, Stephen. Did you hear that news? Who gives a shit? They're divorcing.
Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield?
No,
that's a shame.
Kanye and Kim. Kanye's off in some farm somewhere. He's having a meltdown. Yeah. I think he's having an epiphany, frankly, getting rid of that. We've got a comment coming in, Steve. I'm going to quickly read it here. I'm going to have to drag Streamlabs all the way over to the other window because I am blind as a bat. I feel like the main villains will be Scorpion leading these Sinister Six. Other members I think there will be is Green Goblin, Doc Ock, Electro, Sandman and the Prowler. Didn't know about the Prowler, got to be honest, but we know we're getting Scorpion for sure. Vulture's still hanging around as well, Stephen. We can't write off Michael Keaton. He had the interaction in the end screen, or the end credits scene with Scorpion. It never get connected again into the last movie. That's not like Kevin Feige. He's not that untidy. He connects things up. There will be something paying off with that. I agree. I think we're getting a Sinister Six movie. And that's why I think we ultimately need multiple iterations of Spider-Man, because I don't think this Tom Holland Peter Parker's quite ready for the challenge of a Sinister Six. I think he needs Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, just to maybe just give him that extra bit of firepower to take them on. Man, it's been rumoured for years, Stephen, a Sinister Six movie, man. We've never got it. This would be a great time to get it. It really would. I can't wait to see this movie.
Well, and anything that brings Michael Keaton back into the fold, I'm for it. I loved him in that first movie. It's such a... Yeah, you know, for someone that's played Batman and Bruce Wayne, you know, he's done the flip side just as well, you know, playing the villain. And he was such a menacing figure in that first movie. Terrifying. There was that interrogation scene in the car with Peter Parker, and I actually felt for Peter. I felt scared for him, you know, and it's not a lot of villains do that.
The moment he went to pick up Zendaya's character in the house and realised that was her father, it was horrendous. It was so uncomfortable. The guy it wasn't Zendaya.
Zendaya was MJ. It was I can't remember the other character's name.
Well, the moment he went to the house anyway, and he had that realisation that there was that connection, he was terrified, and I was terrified watching it because Michael Keaton just exuded sheer terror. And he'd done that with Batman as well, Stephen. He was a very intense Batman. That's why he's right up there. It was a different Batman to what we've had in subsequent iterations. So man, if we're getting Michael Keaton, I'll be happy. I'll be a happy boy.
Yeah, definitely. But John, listen, we've only 10 months to go. I'm sure we're going to get trailers. We're going to get teaser trailers, official trailers, more news, more behind the scenes shots, you know, drone shots and stuff like that, unofficial photos and stuff like that. I can't wait because this is all kicking off. We've got the title now. All the merchandise will be getting out the window now. Can't wait. But we're going to move on to our next topic.
That's a callback.
Yeah. I should have said that, wasn't it?
Very first video. Oh.
Yeah, can't wait. Anyway, we'll move on.
Darkness, my old friend.
I'd just like to thank our listeners on YouTube.
Oh, anyway, Steve, I forgot to speak about Loki. There was a little side-connected thing I dug out, but I forgot to send over. Loki is debuting on Disney Plus on June 11th. They announced that today as well. The Loki show's coming out in a couple of months' time. Well, 4 months. How many months? I don't know. 3-4 months. They're just releasing all the good news now, and I cannot wait to see that series as well. So I'll just throw
the Loki show. I even like the sound of that. The Loki show.
Yes.
We'll just have to wait and see, John. I'm more looking forward to Winter Soldier, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Sorry, than Loki. Loki is a great character, but there's only so much you're going to have to do with him, you know. But there's just something about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier that intrigues me. But it's all good, John. It's all good. It's all good. There is nothing wrong with anything in the MCU. You'll
So
get some good stuff, and you'll get great stuff. That's the way it works. We've talked about this, haven't we? But anyway, we'll move on to our next topic, and it's coming in from Screen Rant, John, and it's Judas and the Black Messiah star LaKeith Standfield had panic attacks while filming the Judas and the Black Messiah star LaKeith Standfield. Details how filming a harrowing scene in the movie led to panic attacks and him seeing a therapist. Now, we're going to be a bit darker with this topic, John, but I'm just going to read a little bit of it, and I'll read the quote, obviously, from the actor himself as well. And it's the movie included the scene showing O'Neill poisoning the Kool-Aid, but the simple act was not easy to film. In an interview with Level, Standfield opens up about why shooting this moment was extremely emotional and led to his panic attacks. And this is what he had to say. Let me see. Here we go. And the scene where I had to poison him, a lot of it didn't end up making it to the final cut, but we shot me mixing it in, the Kool-Aid, and I had to go through all those emotions with someone like Daniel, who I just respect as a human and an artist, as Fred Hampton. It felt like I was actually poisoning Chairman Fred Hampton. One thing co-star Dominic Fishback mentioned to me is that your body doesn't always differentiate the experience from your imagination. So sometimes your body thinks that's real. Everything you're putting in through. It's no wonder I've been feeling so stressed out and having panic attacks. I realise going forward, before I step into something like that again, maybe have a therapist now. John, you actually made a good point when we were on. I don't know if it made the final cut on the podcast we appeared on for Side Street Studios a couple of weeks ago. You actually were talking about actors and the sort of process they have to go through. Now, you see it time and time again. I know that Michael J. White had sort of kiboshed the whole theory about Heath Ledger's portrayal as the Joker and how that was his sort of mental downfall. I'm glad an actor came out and said Heath Ledger was actually, because that was a rumour for quite a while. And that's the thing about method acting. Yeah, that's it, John. And I think the thing with especially method actors, it's very hard for them to shake off that experience. And I think this is what obviously, the actors saying here, that although you're going through this, you're only acting. LaKeith Stanfield knows that he's only going through the motions of the acting, but your body and your brain sometimes, whether it's chemicals, I don't know, doesn't understand that it's not real. And it's a complex thing, I think, being an actor. And, this is a great example of sometimes you can't switch off. You know what it's like, John, when you work in your own job. Sometimes it's very hard to switch off from your job. And sometimes you get things in the back of your mind that sort of linger on a little while longer than they have to. It's no different for an actor, is it?
No, it isn't. And Stephen, obviously the very nature of being an actor, you are sliding into someone else's skin when you're doing shoots. That must be an unnerving process. It must be quite liberating when you're doing a role that's very joyful and happy, and it brings that emotion out within you. But if you're playing a real life person, and look, Stephen, I can't begin to know the characters they're playing. I watched Daniel Kaluuya, I think it was Tom Holland and Dan Kaluuya speaking about their various roles. I think Tom was speaking about Cherry and Daniel was speaking about Judas and the Black Messiah. I can't begin to know what the character is that also LaKeith's playing. I know it's a historical figure. It looks like an amazing movie. But when you're getting into the skin of someone like that, a real living person, not only will you have that emotion of wanting to do justice for his family who are living, but you'll have the emotion of everything they went through. You're reliving it again. And it must be quite hard. It must be quite unnerving as an actor. I did speak about it, Stephen. I think I mentioned something along the lines of them being quite complicated figures, actors. They want the adulation. They're almost seeking attention, but at the same time, they're quite complicated characters. You've seen it with the likes of Robin Williams in the past. I was going down a Robin Williams rabbit hole today, incidentally, watching his funny interviews. What a guy he was. Badly missed. Yeah. But they're quite complex. They have their emotions within them, like most people do, but it seems like the actors, they almost wear their heart on their sleeve more than the average person, and that can seep out when they're doing performances like this. You can see it. It maybe gets to them. We heard the stories about Jim Carrey, Steve, on the Man on the Moon. Was it? What was that guy? That guy he was playing again?
It was Andy Kaufman.
Andy Kaufman. I was about to say Jimmy Kaufman. You recall the story, Stephen? I think he done a documentary how he became this guy, and it didn't go well for the directors and the people around him. He was attacking people and things like that. So these actors can at times, it can be quite a difficult process. But Stephen, I like this. I like what I'm hearing there, because that means that he's get right into the story on an emotional level. It's affected him. And you see that when he's needing a therapist, because he feels that he's actually poisoning Kaluuya. He feels like he's poisoning the character. That means he's became one with the story, with the characters. I just can't wait to see this movie. It looks absolutely amazing. Listening to Kaluuya talking about it, he's really respecting the character, the history, the performance is there. You can see it in the trailers. I cannot wait to see LaKeith Standfield as well. I just think he's amazing, man. What an actor that guy is. So this just ups my anticipation for this movie again. Hearing this, even though it's bad for him, he's had to have a therapist and he's been through a terrible time. I'm sure that'll show the performance, that he's got that passion
that's it, exactly.
and investment in the story and the character. Hopefully it's good. And it's not
I think it will be, and I'm sure it will be. But we'll move on to our next topic, John. And this one was replacing one that I accidentally put in and didn't realise you'd already spoke about it.
Yeah, I spoke about it superficial level, Stephen. I didn't have a clue about Blue Beetle, and admitted it.
No, so it's probably not a bad thing. But this is all about Disney Plus's new channel, Star. Now, I was just browsing it yesterday, and I noticed that it was asking for some of the profiles to be updated to adult, 18 plus. And I thought, well, what's this? And I did that, and this whole level of content just came flooding in front of my eyes, and I couldn't believe it. It definitely, John, but this is coming in from independent. It's all over the place, obviously, because it has been a big launch, and we've been talking about it sort of briefly, about obviously with the Fox merger, etc. But Disney Plus has launched its new channel, Star, with a whopping 75 TV shows now available to watch. This is coming in from the independent, by the way. Making its debut in the UK today, that was the 23rd, so it was yesterday. Star broadcasts content from the likes of Disney, Television Studios, FX, 20th Century Fox, and 20th Television. Disney Plus subscribers will be able to access the channel at no extra cost, which is absolutely amazing. Among the lengthy list of TV shows viewers can tune into new series including Big Sky and Love Victor. Star is also home of the classic shows such as Desperate Housewives, Scrubs, The X-Files and Lost. In addition to 75 series, Star will be the home of 276 films ranging from Scorsese classics to teen dramas. And the full list. Yeah, Mulder and Scully. John, the whole list is on the independent website, independent.co.uk, if you want to check out the whole list. But I'm certainly not going to read out 276 films and all the content there, John. But The X-Files was on Netflix for a good couple of years. The X-Files was on Netflix for, I think it was maybe 2 or 3 years, and I went back and watched it. Both of us got the box sets. I don't know why I did it, but it was just convenient enough. I think there's something about the home streaming platform that becomes very more convenient than having to dig out your box sets, etc. And I went on this journey again. Hadn't seen it in about 10, 15 years. Thoroughly enjoyed it, but I knew Netflix, it wouldn't be a permanent home. That was one of the things about Netflix in the early days, when they didn't have their origins. You just didn't know how long you were going to have it for. Yeah. Now it's on Disney Plus. It's there for good. It's there for, obviously, the foreseeable future. I don't see them shifting these things anytime soon, John. But things like Scrubs, Desperate Housewives, all these big series, from the early 2000s are there as well. 276 films. Fantastic. I noticed Anna and the Kings there. Great film, Jodie Foster and Chow Yun-fat. I've not seen in a long time. So I'll be tuning into that. I liked that film at the time. So it's just things like that, John. But what's your take on this? I think it's Sleepy Hollow as well. The television series is on there. But I think I think this is just Disney Plus upped its game once more.
Stephen, it was a necessary step for the streaming service. They've been going head to head with the likes of Netflix and Amazon, and they are not cornered in to sort of limited demographic projects and maybe content. Disney had limited content, and when they first released it was more child friendly, PG-13 stuff. They never had one R-rated bit of content. We didn't have Indiana Jones or nothing, even though they'd merged with Fox by this point. So it was necessary. If they are restructuring their entire process, their company, for TV content and streaming, and they are, because Bob Chapek confirmed it at the last investors call, then the only way they can realistically compete with a streaming service like Netflix is by arming subscribers who are of an age to watch it with all of this R-rated content. And look at the list, man, it's unreal. Sons of Anarchy, I've watched Sons of Anarchy start to finish. It's an amazing TV show. You've got likes of Modern Family. I ain't ever seen Modern Family, Stephen. I've heard a lot of good things about it. I'm going to watch it now that it's on the streaming service. That is things that are going to bring me back to the streaming service when I otherwise wouldn't be on it. Because there was a huge period for a good 6 months after the release of maybe Mandalorian Season 1 to Mandalorian Season 2, where aside from going back to classic MCU movies and doing reviews on them, I didn't really watch any content on Disney Plus.
I think Disney are aware of that, though. I think you're absolutely right. I think they're aware of, obviously, looking at their stats, that they will see a dip in form when there isn't a new series available. And you're right, I think Mandalorian from 2 years ago, Season 1, there'd been that dip until the second season came out because they didn't have anything else.
Well,
then obviously with WandaVision, Hamilton, but when WandaVision came out as well, they would have seen their numbers surge once more. But they do need more adult content, and this is the best way to do it. Especially when they take on those properties, the likes of Deadpool, etc. They need that platform to stream on. That it's not going to be kid friendly. It's going to be for adults, only. And I'm glad they've done it. It's about time.
Steve, they've got 24 on there as well. They've got umpteen cool TV shows and good content. It was necessary, man, and it's a good step, and it's going to arm them with a real possibility of going toe to toe with Netflix now in the next 3 to 4 5 years. That, along with all of the new sort of original content, Marvel, Star Wars content, they're going to go toe to toe with Netflix. There was a prediction, I think, by 2025 they'll overtake Netflix as the biggest streaming service. That'd be incredible. Netflix has got a decade head start on Disney Plus. So that just shows you this was necessary. It's going to bring in new subscribers, and it's good. It's competitively priced. It's £60 for a year's subscription. That's nothing, man. Nothing. I spend that in a month on McDonald's alone. So I'd happily pay that for a year to get all of this great content. I'm pretty sure it's £60 for a year.
Do you think possibly in the next decade, John, we might see Disney Plus taking over Netflix as a streaming, taking their entity and putting it within their own sort of streaming platform?
It could.
Very much like we've got the National Geographic. Netflix could become part of the Disney Plus family.
Disney are that big a company, and they're just going to keep making money because this will rebound. The theatres will rebound. They will be grossing $1 billion a movie again, and they've got so many movies coming. 10 years from now, they could be $1 trillion company. They could quite easily be able to acquiesce with a Netflix and take that in as like a National Geographic, like a Hulu. It's possible. I don't know how Netflix's fortunes are going to go, though. They may explode as well. It may not be possible, but it's very competitively priced. The subscribers are going up. This is just going to help them. And you've got HBO Max releasing Warner Brothers movies concurrently with theatres over in the States. They needed this. So it's well timed. Atlanta as well. I've not seen that. It's Childish Gambino, Donald Glover. Love the man. So I'm going to go and watch a lot of content now it's on there. So it's positive for us.
Keep you busy, John.
Yep, absolutely will. I need it.
And it worked in our favour as well for what we do on this YouTube channel. But I'm going to move on to our next topic, John. This is our second and last topic. It's Guardians of the Galaxy director confirms adult Groot won't come back.
We're not speaking about the other topic, Stephen. No, we did.
What one's that, John?
The one about the trailer. The indie.
That's going to be our last one. That's going to be our last one. Yeah, James Gunn seemingly confirms that the version of adult Groot fans saw in Guardians of the Galaxy won't be coming back in the third film. There's a picture of him. I forgot how handsome he looks. It was a great character, John. But Gunn recently hosted yet another Q&A session on Instagram. He's quite vocal on that platform. Yes. One fan asked when and if we would get to see Groot's adult form again, to which Gunn replied, "Sadly, that original Groot is no longer with us, so unless there is a prequel of the same type, we won't see him again." And you can check that comment out below, John. It is. I've got to be honest, I'm not too fussed. I loved Groot in the first movie. I thought he was one of the standout performers, which is mental when you had to convince me to go along to see this film. I thought, this sounds crazy. He really did affect me in the film, especially his sacrifice at the very end. So, obviously, the one that we do see, the sort of baby Groot in Guardians 2, is an offspring of, that original form. And then we get the teenage one. Yeah, we get the it's like his son, basically. Then we get the teenage one, that's in Infinity War. I'm kind of glad that that wouldn't make sense to bring him back. He'd sacrifice himself, and it would take that moment away if he was the same one, wouldn't it?
But Stephen, I'm conflicted on this because, of course, he has been growing up throughout the other movies. We've seen him as young, sort of fledgling Groot. What would you call that? I don't know what you call a baby tree. He was a baby tree dancing at the end of the first
That was
Guardians
the
movie.
yeah.
Second one, he was a young Groot. And then obviously he was a adolescent, teenage Groot, and he's on the game and he's throwing tantrums and stuff like that. So he's been growing up throughout the movie, so I don't quite grasp why he can't become an adult again. I don't understand why in subsequent appearances, unless he gets killed in Guardians 3, and this is all a big sort of spoiler for that movie, why he can't become an adult again in the future. He won't be the same Groot we've seen in the first one, but he could be a very different
I think that's what
version.
James Gunn's getting at.
Yeah, it's
I
not-
think we might get an adult version, but not
It's
that one.
Not
yeah.
that one. Yeah, that's fine. I don't give a shit about that. We've evolved from that. He had his sacrificial moment. It was a great moment.
Yeah.
And obviously that lent us that great moment where the dance-off happened. And it saved Peter Quill. So we wouldn't have got that amazing dance-off moment, and that would have been a tragedy for fans of Guardians. And now we've got a very different Groot, and he's likeable as well. So I don't really give a shit about that, Steve. It's absolutely fine. What I did like though about Groot, my favourite moment with Groot, that aside, was the moment where he says those infamous words to Rocket, "Don't leave me," or something like that. I think he called him Dad. Of course, it was translated after the effect. I think it was Infinity War when he dusted away. That was a special moment. He's just a cool character. Who would have thought we'd connect so well with a tree? It's unreal.
And
that's the magic of James Gunn.
Yeah.
Stephen, I loved the original Guardians. It was just one of one of my favourite cinematic experiences, going to see that in the theatres.
I still want to see that. The second one was fine as well, John. At its moments, but I really do want to see. I want to see Rocket's backstory. I want to see what there's tragedy there, John. There's definitely something not right.
Stephen, I always see him as like Logan. To me, he's like Wolverine. He's got a similar tortured past. He's been taken away and experimented on, and there's some hardship in there. So I'd love to see that, and we can absolutely explore it. And maybe another Guardians movie, or maybe even a standalone. I'd like to watch a Rocket standalone movie. He's a great little character. Is that Bradley Cooper?
Yeah.
It is, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Who would have thought
Vin Diesel does Groot, doesn't he? Yeah, we are Groot. But we're going to move on to our final topic, John, and it's what you just mentioned there. We actually got an email coming in from Machine CAD Films in regards to an up-and-coming film that's coming out on the 5th of March called Raktha Gulabi. Now, this is something that's we get quite a few emails from production companies giving us sort of heads up when a trailer's dropping, etc. And occasionally we will get production companies asking us to review films. For this one is really interesting. It's very intriguing, and it kind of reminded me of 1917 and the sort of spirit that they were going for in the film. But they've actually went one step further, and I'll just read this part of the email that came in, John. I don't want to get into too much. It's a personal email, so it's really just to highlight and obviously what the film is about. And it's they've recently completed a movie called Raktha Gulabi. The entire movie was shot in a single shot, and also our movie has been recorded in India Book of Records and Asia Book of Records for shooting a movie without any cut or edit. Raktha Gulabi is releasing on 5th of March. First time North Karnataka actor is acting in the lead role. We are not supported by any production house or media or from any celebrity. John, we watched the trailer, probably about 2 minutes long. Give us your thoughts, John, because I was swaying whether or not to do a trailer reaction, but I think after watching the trailer, I think we made the right decision. I don't think it's one to react to, but I'll tell you something. For a film that's shot in one shot with no cut or edit, it was an actually very interesting trailer. It looked very natural and very what would you say?
Continuous.
Continuous, and as if you're actually there with them. You know, it was very intriguing.
Stephen, that's the absolute wonder of the continuous one-shot style. I can't recall the movie, but there was a famous World War II set movie. It wasn't 1917. It was another one. And you had an infamous 20-minute, or maybe not 20-minute, that's ripping the piss, a 10-minute sort of continuous one take shot of the Dunkirk beach and it following it all the way around. It was amazing. You felt you were being whisked back 75 years to that moment. So that's the beauty when you have these one-shot, sort of one continuous shot style movies. You've seen it with 1917. It really immerses you in the world. You feel like you're part of them because you're going on that journey. You're not being taken out of it by cuts. You're experiencing it real time with the characters, and it really does. It's
almost live. Yeah,
it's a good way of immersing you into the story, Stephen, and making you empathise with these characters. And I got that from the trailer. It was a very cool trailer. It was brooding. There was lots of drama, thriller elements in there. They're being chased, I think, by the police. They're on this sort of journey. Lots of guns getting thrashed about. It was dark. What I loved most about it was you could really see that they were shooting it in one continuous take. There wasn't jumps from dark to light. It started off daytime, and as it went forward, you seen mists, and then you seen the sun going down, and you really get that sense that it was following this journey. It was a really cool trailer. I like to look at the sort of the characters, the journey they're going on. They're going through fields. There's all sorts of shit going on. You get lots of following and tracking shots with the camera. So I'd love to see this movie. I don't think the trailer's going to do it justice. When you get these continuous shot projects, I've not seen many of them, but they are out there. What does it justice is getting to watch the full movie and experiencing it and seeing if it lends you maybe more. This continuous shot, or maybe it's just a gimmick. Only watching the movie will really tell you that one way or another. So I've seen enough from the trailer to say that I'm interested. Stephen, I love 1917. Roger Deakins, Sam Mendes, an absolute wizard with a camera. Roger Deakins, one of the all-time great cinematographers. What he done with that movie with some really neat little cuts that obviously going through the house and it panning to the side of the house. That was a cut. Little moments in the dark, cuts.
Yeah.
They're not doing this here, but you've seen a master doing it, and it was amazing. And it was a real experience watching that movie, and it was worthy of its nominations at the Oscars. Sadly, it didn't win many, but Roger Deakins won. So I like this style when it's done right. I'm liking what I'm seeing from this, and I'm glad they came forward and emailed us, because it certainly piqued my interest. And a northern Indian movie as well, Stephen. We've been delving mostly in the southern Tamil, Malayalam movies, if that's even how you say it. So it's nice to see a Karnataka, did you say? Is that what he says the leading actor was? A northern actor. So it's nice to see different regions of India. We're not just delving into the one thing, Bollywood and stuff like that. So I'm intrigued.
I did. Yeah, certainly am, John. I was that intrigued that went onto IMDb to find out the running time, because it's a big ask to do a feature length with one shot, one take, and no edits. But it's going to be very interesting to see how it doesn't actually have anything on IMDb that confirms the running time. But I'm looking forward to seeing this, John. And anyone that wants to check this out can, obviously go on YouTube and check the trailer out and just search up Raktha Gulabi. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, why not?
Steve, final thing I would add, I forgot to say it in my little rant about continuous one shots and my love of them. You got to appreciate the amount of attention to detail that would go into that production. They'd have to map out every place they were going to, make sure it was unbroken, they could get access to it. That's a marathon. We've seen how long it took for 1917, 6 months of shooting. Not shooting, 6 months of laying the foundation down, mapping out the exact length of trenches.
Pre-production,
Yeah, all the attention to detail went into that. That was just for that. I like a continuous one-shot movie. They were masquerading it as a one-shot project. This is an actual one-shot project, so be fascinating to watch this movie and see how they've pulled it off, man. If it's getting into the record books and stuff like that over in India, then it's certainly a technical masterpiece. But look, that's going to round us up, man. Us speaking about movies again today. I've not got any of the topics in front of me. This is going to be a test of my memory. I'm pleased to say my memory's above average though, so I'm sure I'll do a good job. What is your thoughts on that Spider-Man 3 title? It's been revealed, No Way Home. Is that something that excites you? Would you prefer to have seen Phone Home, was it, Stephen? Home Slice, Home Wrecker?
Yeah.
Did you prefer the sort of kid-on titles that we had, Tom Holland and Zendaya releasing on Instagram? What's your thoughts on the other topics? I'm not even going to try and stretch my mind to think about Messiah, him having a mental breakdown. What's your thoughts on that? What was the other topic, Stephen?
Disney Plus Star.
Disney Plus Star. What do you make about all of this new R-rated goodness companies on Disney Plus? Is that something that excites you? Or are you a little kid? You shouldn't be watching this if you are. This is not for fucking kids. And I'll just emphasise that by swearing. But if maybe you're excited about R-rated, I don't know. You can comment about anything you want.
Adult Groot.
Adult Groot, yes. Do you want to see Adult Groot coming back, or do you give a shit? You can comment down below if you get to see it all. You can also like the video. If you've enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel on YouTube. Hit the follow button on Twitch if you want to see us talking about movies again, reviews, reactions. You'll not get reactions on Twitch, but if you do, you'll get more content like this, guys. But wait until then, bye-bye. Hello again and bye-bye again, sadly.